Fever dub! Bow, bow, bow. Dub in the chat. A W. Ah.
They said the Fever would fade without their star. Instead, on August 1st, 2025, Indiana walked out of Dallas 4 games over .500, a line this team hadn't crossed since 2015. And they did it in front of 17,857 fans, with Paige Bueckers lighting up the scoreboard and Caitlin Clark still in street clothes. That wasn't survival. That was a statement.
The 100 win over Phoenix. Stephanie White called that a big win.
Ooh,
They were outstanding. Mitchell,
come on.
The former Dallas wing, Natasha Howard.
Nobody was looking for this. We think Kelsey Mitchell's going to shoot, but that is the play to make right there. Nobody in the passing lane.
The game didn't feel like a midseason grind. It felt like a proving ground. Dallas moved it to the big stage, the American Airlines Center, because the whole week had been building toward one question. Could Indiana keep winning without Caitlin Clark? The answer started forming the moment the ball went up. Paige Bueckers hit early shots, the crowd swelled, and the whistle leaned toward the home team. Indiana could have shrunk. They didn't. They took the noise, the pressure, the expectation, and turned it into oxygen. With Clark still out, the Fever leaned on habits, not hype. They spaced the floor, cut hard, and trusted the extra pass. When Dallas tried to muscle them off rhythm, Indiana answered with second chances and threes that silenced runs. Every time the Wings flirted with momentum, the Fever answered with poise, boards, ball security, and a shot that landed right where it needed to. But poise alone doesn't close a road game like this. Someone has to grab the steering wheel, and that's where the tone changed. Because Kelsey Mitchell decided the pace would be hers.
Wins in a row, a season high. Just how have you been able to find that rhythm over this stretch?
I think it's been about, we've had some practices, and I think practicing has definitely tuned us up, fine-tuning as far as the details. We knew before All-Star that, the second half of the season is always about people making adjustments, people finding ways to stop what we have to do. And I think that on us, we try to do a good job of staying locked in at practices and shoot-arounds and all that kind of stuff to be where we need to be.
She wasn't supposed to reshape the season. She did anyway. Aari arrived without fanfare, short deal, shorter runway, and played like someone who'd been waiting her whole life for green lights. First step, burst. Next read, perfect. She turns dead possessions into layups or kickouts with nothing more than pace and nerve. Her impact starts before the shot. She stretches the floor vertically, pushes the ball before the defense can set, forces a second defender to shade, then slips the pass to a shooter with feet already planted. When the game slows, she doesn't. She toggles tempo, probe, retreat, re-attack, until a seam opens. It looks simple. It isn't. That's feel. On defense, she's the irritant you can't shake. Hands in passing lanes, chest in jerseys. One dig at the dribble and suddenly the offense is 3 steps behind the play. Those small wins stack up. A rushed entry pass, a sloppy screen angle, a pull-up taken a beat too early. Then the rebound, then the run out. Then the 2 points that felt like 4. The best part? She syncs with Kelsey without stepping on rhythm. When Kelsey sits, Aari keeps the throttle steady. When they share the floor, it's pressure from both sides. Downhill attacks that twist rotations, drive and kick chains that tire bigs, and a whistle that can't decide which one to chase. That balance, speed without chaos, urgency without panic, became the spine of the night. Leadership shows up in little things. A quick word after a turnover, a tap to switch a coverage, a call for a drag screen a second earlier than usual because she's felt the weak side nod off. It's subtle, it's constant, and teammates move like they trust it. She gave Indiana an engine. Engines need open road. Some shooters need time. Bibby needed a sliver. Catch, set, up. Nets barely move. It's not just the makes, it's how fast they arrive. A defender cheats a step to the paint and she punishes it. Help late, too late. That instant release forces a choice every trip. Hug the corner and open the lane, or stunt at the drive and pray she misses. Either way, Indiana wins the math. Her presence changes geometry. With a true spacer on one side, the weak side tagger hesitates. That half second is everything. Aliyah Boston gets a clean seal. Guards drive without seeing 2 bodies in the gap. Closeouts turn from contests into flybys, and the next pass is already in the air. It looks simple on film. It feels impossible when the ball moves that quickly. Bibby fits because she doesn't hunt, she flows. Relocate along the arc, keep the angle wide, stay shot ready, and make the defense talk louder than it wants to. Miss one, no flinch. The next catch is the same posture, same balance, same result. Coaches love that. Teammates trust it. Opponents start pointing and yelling a beat earlier than before, and that's the tell that spacing is doing its job. Aari supplied the engine. Bibby opened the road. Some shooters need time. Bibby needed a sliver. Catch, set up, nets barely move. It's not just the makes, it's how fast they arrive. A defender cheats a step to the paint and she punishes it. Help late, too late. That instant release forces a choice every trip. Hug the corner and open the lane, or stunt at the drive and pray she misses. Either way, Indiana wins the math. Her presence changes geometry. With a true spacer on one side, the weak side tagger hesitates. That half second is everything. Aliyah Boston gets a clean seal. Guards drive without seeing two bodies in the gap. Closeouts turn from contests into flybys, and the next pass is already in the air. It looks simple on film. It feels impossible when the ball moves that quickly. Bibby fits because she doesn't hunt, she flows. Relocate along the arc, keep the angle wide, stay shot ready, and make the defense talk louder than it wants to. Miss one, no flinch. The next catch is the same posture, same balance, same result. Coaches love that. Teammates trust it. Opponents start pointing and yelling a beat earlier than before, and that's the tell that spacing is doing its job. Aari supplied the engine. Bibby opened the road. They didn't just win the interior, they owned it. Possession after possession. Aliyah Boston and Natasha Howard turned crowded lanes into passing clinics and putbacks into momentum swings. One seals, the other slices. One fakes high-low, the other slips behind a ball watcher. It's the kind of front court rhythm you can't fake, you have to feel it. What made it brutal for Dallas wasn't only size, it was decision-making. Catch at the nail, read the help, fire the skip before the weak side even finishes rotating. Miss a box out? Howard erases it with second-effort rebounds that deflate a defense. Send a late double? Boston welcomes it, pivots to daylight, and the ball finds a shooter in rhythm. Power with patience. Strength with touch. Then came the history. Both stuffing lines with points, boards, dimes, and swipes. The rare blend of control and disruption you almost never see from one player, let alone two in the same game. That's not stat chasing, that's system fluency. Hands active, feet anchored, eyes up. Every read turns into an advantage, and every advantage turns into a run. And here's the effect you feel from the nosebleeds. Guards play freer when their bigs make the floor predictable. Drives are cleaner because the outlet is trustworthy. Closeouts are calmer because the rebound is likely theirs. Boston and Howard didn't just tilt the matchup, they simplified the game for everyone in blue. Call it a checklist. Call it a turning point. Either way, the night stamped 4 markers that don't happen by accident. First, the front court first. Boston and Howard didn't just dominate. They wrote something new into league history with matching all-around lines that teams almost never see from one player, let alone two. That's proof of chemistry, not coincidence. Second, the standing that matters. Indiana walked out 4 games over .500, a place this franchise hasn't lived in a decade. That isn't a hot week. That's a new baseline. Third, the spacing spark. Bibby drilled multiple threes in each of her first 3 games. For a newcomer, that's instant credibility, and it changes the way defenses map the floor from the opening tip. Fourth, the pace and poise piece. Aari McDonald hit the 150 milestone in record fever time, sliding into company that speaks for itself. Speed, reads, timing. She gave them an organizer when they needed one most. Put them together, and you get identity. Interior control. Clean spacing. A closer who finishes runs. A guard who keeps the throttle right where it should be. That's not a patchwork win. That's a framework. Strip away the noise, and a pattern appears. Indiana didn't win on heat checks. They won on possessions. Extra boards. Fewer empty trips. Clean looks created early in the clock or late with purpose. When Dallas tried to tilt the game at the line, the Fever answered by owning the glass and protecting the ball. That flips the math. Second chances turn into corner threes. Strong closeouts turn into long rebounds you can run off. And when the half-court bogs down, they toggle tempo without losing shape. Shot quality tells the same story. Paint touches first, then kickouts. Drive, collapse, spray, repeat. It's why the threes feel in rhythm, not forced. It's why the mid-range shows up only when a defender sells out. And defense travels because it's built on habits. Early help, strong tags, one-and-done rebounds. Those aren't one-night wonders, they're repeatable. Coaching shows up in the details. Screening angles that free the first action. Empty side post-ups that let Boston read single coverage. Drag screens in transition for Aari before the big can plant. Bibby flattening the weak side to keep the nail empty. Mitchell dictating which defender has to guard the ball. When those pieces sync, the scoreboard follows. This is what identity looks like. Pace without panic, spacing without stagnation, power without wasted motion. The best part of this run isn't the wins. It's what they unlocked for when Caitlin Clark steps back in. Gravity changes everything. One screen and 2 defenders lean. One relocation and a help defender freezes. Now imagine that with Bibby planted wide, Aari pushing pace, Mitchell punishing tags, and Boston Howard reading doubles like a book. The choices get ugly for opponents. Trap Clark and give up clean corner threes, or play her straight and live with a downhill lane that ends at the rim or the line. End of game looks sharpened too. Clark bends coverage on the first action. Mitchell buries the second. And the front court cleans the misses that do happen. Aari's minutes keep the throttle up when Clark sits, which means no drop-off stretches that bleed leads. Bibby's spacing means fewer packed paints and easier reads. It's not just more talent, it's stronger fit. The scouting headache grows by the possession. Switch, and you risk a guard sealing a mismatch. Stay home, and you concede pull-up rhythm. Show early help, and Boston lasers the skip before the defender even finishes sliding. What used to be a team riding one superstar becomes a group where every piece amplifies the next. That's why this stretch matters. Indiana didn't wait for Clark to save them. They built a structure she can supercharge. When she returns, the game slows for her and speeds up for everyone else. That's how regular season flashes become playoff habits. Layers of pressure, options on options, and a margin for error that keeps you alive on rough shooting nights. The equation changed, and the league felt it. What happened in Dallas wasn't a one-off. It was a blueprint. Indiana stacked habits, glass control, clean spacing, tempo on demand, and layered them with roles that fit like puzzle pieces. Mitchell set the heartbeat. Aari kept the throttle honest. Bibby stretched the floor. Boston and Howard turned the paint into a pressure point. That's why the scoreboard moved, and that's why the standings did too. 4 markers in one night weren't fireworks, they were signposts. This is a team that learned to win without shortcuts. And now the piece that bends defenses on sight is on the way back. When Clark returns, the math tilts harder, the reads get easier, and the margins widen. That's not hype, it's structure. Hold the habits, keep the pace, trust the pass. Do that, and the noise around the fever becomes something else entirely. Expectation. Fever becomes something else entirely. Expectation.